Oh, yeah, it's go time. Woohoo! Here we are, 47 years today. Here we are. We are going to rock it out today. I am so pumped to have you guys on the show here, live from Cincinnati. Before we even start, okay, so 1979, do you guys realize what song was rocking in 79? Come on, Gus or Joanne, do you know? Number one song in 79.
It was a song by Les McCann called Gus Gus.
No. So it was My Sharona. Remember that song?
Oh, my goodness.
Crushed it. And then I did some research. The movie was Kramer versus Kramer. Remember that?
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Wow.
And then one other thing. Okay, you guys are from Cincinnati. I'm from Pittsburgh. In 1979, there was one city called the City of Champions, and it was my hometown, Pittsburgh, with the Pirates and the Steelers winning them both. Haven't done it since.
There you go.
Sorry, had to throw that in there for you Cincinnati people. Pittsburgh was the City of Champions in 79.
We won't hold it against you.
Oh, my. So I got to tell you, I'm so excited for this today. I mean, we are going to have a blast here. 47 years, I got to tell you, you know what? It's more than a celebration. It's a legacy, I'm going to say, from all of you. You know, how the generation from one to the next. But let's just deep dive into it and see. Okay, so Gus and Joanne, whoever wants to start, how in the heck did you guys start a staffing firm in 79?
She knew I was going to do it before I did, but go ahead.
Yeah. The politics were changing in the office in the company that he worked for. And evidently one of the people from P&G, one of his buddies, said, "Why don't you just do this yourself, Gus?" And I was really happy because I always knew that Gus could start a business. And I came from a family. We both came from families where the wife and the husbands worked together. So that wasn't different. And I always say, thank God we started in a basement office because we couldn't jump out of the window if things went south.
Oh, no.
So that was it. I mean, we started with 3 people. And then talking about the song that was popular in 1979, we had a secretary called Disco Joyce.
Disco Joyce. Get out of here.
She danced every night, and she would go and run it for lunch and then come back in, no showers or anything. She was a stitch, but that was how we started. It was very close quarters, but we always had excellent help from our
Staff.
From our staff, but I mean, from making a logo. My cousin gave us a great logo right off the bat. And then we had a very close friend who became our son's godfather, who did the office layouts for us. And we were just quite lucky. And
You guys are awesome. I got to tell you that.
We had the first check that we ever got.
No way. You still have it?
Yeah, but we have a picture of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so like I said, we've been very blessed and very lucky. And that was through a lot of hard work.
I love that. I got to tell you, I got to put this picture up here because this really caught me. This handsome devil right here. Look at this guy. Trust in Gus. I mean, he's got the shark mouth, open up, high energy, but that trustinggus.net. Okay, Gus, I got to ask you, how'd you come up with this, your tagline and also, your page number? I mean, because the trust is there, buddy, because you guys treat everybody like family.
Absolutely. And thanks to Mandy. She's our PR and graphics person. But I would like to just jump back just for one moment because I love to tell this story.
Yeah.
I started in this business. I'm so blessed that we have what we have. I started while I was in college as a janitor at a company that was called Allstates. I thought it was insurance. And it turns out it was Allstate's Design. It was an engineering company. So I'm sweeping under these drawing boards and I'm saying, wait, what do you guys do here? So that's what they told. Anyway, long story short, they sent me on an assignment. And I said, I'm not an engineer. I'm studying business. What do you, they sent me down to the utility company to check maps. I said, I have no idea what these maps, they said, you'll figure it out. Anyway, fast forward to spend 8 years. They gave me a promotion into personnel recruiting. Left there, went to another competitor for 5 years. And as Joanne said, politics were changing, and she knew I was going to do this before I did. And I remember calling her because the company found out that I was preparing this big move, and they called me into the office, and we were all friends, and he said, we understand you're starting your own company. And I said, yeah, I've got everything. Got my letter of resignation. I just haven't turned it in yet. And they said, well, we'd like you to leave. And I said, sure, I'll get my stuff packed up. And it says, you don't understand. We want you to leave right now. So I got on the phone to Joanne. I said, Joanne, come and get me because I got to turn in my company car. But anyway.
Oh boy. Hey, Joanne, what were you thinking at that point? You're like, holy shit, this is really happening.
we knew the shit hit the fan that day. That's for sure. And, yeah, but no,
You were preparing.
we were preparing.
And we want to, leave on
good
terms and so forth. And so I made sure I didn't bring anything with me, So first week we're in our new offices and this big box shows up. All of the confidential stuff I had left behind, someone that was going to take my office, packs it all up and sends it to me. I said, is this a setup or what? Anyway, we packed it all back and we said, I'm sure you sent this by mistake. We want a clean break. But anyway, great stories. I mean,
I love that. Okay, so do you guys remember the first person you ever placed?
There were 5, right?
Oh, yeah. Real quick, I know we're on a time limit here, but
No, I got no watches on, Gus. We could be here for 47 hours.
One of our biggest clients back then, besides P&G, Procter & Gamble.
Yeah.
I used to call it Procter and Gus, but anyway,
Ooh.
Emery Industries. Anyway, so I called Wayne Stark was his name, and I said had lunch with him, and I said, look, I just want you to know that I'm going to be leaving the company and we're starting our own company. And it's been great working with you. I just wanted to thank you for all the opportunity. And he goes, that's great. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I've got this 5-person project long-term. We're going to give it to you instead of the company I was with.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We had a project before we opened the door, and within the year, it wasn't even a year, and we were at $1 million in sales.
Look at you. I mean, and this is what, like 1980, I would assume, right?
Yeah, 1979 and 80. Yeah, very blessed. Very blessed.
Let's go back to the 80s, because the 80s were up and down. Did you have some years that were like, the Reagan years or whatever that was good, bad, or what? Give me some insights on all that.
I went to two or three banks and friends that I knew and so forth. And I said, this is what I want to do. I want to start my own, and I need a loan to get started.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, you got a great job. You just stay where you are, man. What do you? It's like you just said. This timing is. I said, there's never any great time. So a good friend of ours hooked us up with another bank, a smaller bank, and right away they said, we'll help get you started, and that was the beginning. But it was not the most ideal time to start a company, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But talk about the first by 83, 84, 85.
Yeah. We were, again, so fortunate to be working with P&G, and I know no one else is listening because of the confidentiality. I'm mentioning Procter & Gamble.
I mean, you're very transparent here for the whole world to hear.
Yeah. So we were, again, in these small offices and doing P&G work. So the key guy called me and said, want to have lunch with you. And look, this is what we have in mind for you. We're retooling our diaper lines, and we want you to do the work along with one other company that was a larger company that we were a competitor, but good friends. And so after lunch, we're walking across the street from the restaurant to my office, and he says, how's it feel to have the key to the city? Key to the city. I said, what do you mean? He says, we're upset that Kimberly-Clark is gaining market share. So they went into a retooling of all their diaper lines. We had probably 250 people working on that work.
That's a lot.
Pampers and Loves. And that growth through those 3 or 4 years that you were referring to put us on the top 500 Inc. magazine's fastest growing companies.
Look at you.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that. Okay, so Gus, I got to ask you, or Joanne, recruiting wise, there wasn't no Indeed or nothing like that. How in the hell did you find these candidates?
Right.
Smile
on,
and dial.
What's the secret?
Smile and dial.
I had a yellow pad, and anytime I would talk to an applicant, I'd put their name and contact down there, and I had all these. So an opening would come up, and I'd go right to that. No computer or anything back then. Go back to that yellow pad memory jogger. Oh, he's available. He's a fit. So, yeah, I mean, yeah. Again,
We had rooms of file cabinets by discipline, alphabetically organized. One of my first jobs when I was, working in the summers, 12, 13, child labor, would be to go through the files and try to match the requirements with the resumes. And then I would call at the young age of 12 and 13. And I actually think my first hire, I was probably 14.
14 years old, first hire. Did you get like an allowance or did you actually get a paycheck?
Electrical engineer, Rick Ellison, we got him hired.
Yeah.
I remember because I remember the whole deal going through. Like, I thought I made a call and I just got this person a new job. Like, how cool is that?
I mean, you gotta admit, Mandy, the feel of that, getting somebody hired is amazing. Okay, so I gotta ask you, Mandy, did you guys ever have like a battle between siblings of like, who's gonna place more people? I mean, is there like a war about that or not? Come on.
No, I'll tell you the truth. We all have, there's 3 of us in total. So I'm the middle child. My older sister, Lynn, has been with the company since 1990. My brother, George, has been with the company 20 years. I'm on 10 years this year. Oh, there's Lynn.
There's Lynn.
Oh my God.
He's listening. So go ahead.
So
That's pretty
Lynn,
cool.
Lynn's the heart and soul. She's the voice you hear when you call in. We still do a lot. We still have all the calls go through Lynn because they want to talk with Lynn and engage with her. So Lynn runs the admin team. My brother George is 7 years my younger. He was the GPA baby. He was born 9 months after the company opened. Right.
Oh boy.
So
How about that?
basically, and George.
That's for another story, another time.
Yeah, exactly.
George runs production and is in charge of keeping the recruiters with the priorities and their growth and their advancement, the business development side as well. And then I run my own accounts as well and do some of the more operational support for Gus and Joanne as we're even talking about our next generation. Hence the name, which actually for our website was a company called Keith and Company. They're out in Glendale and they also have presence in Pittsburgh.
Ooh, wow. There we go.
They are a very close friend of mine owns the business, Keith Canuven, and he came up with the trust in Gus, which can eventually also be trusting us.
Yeah.
However we emphasize it. So for the next generation, it can also be trusting us, and we can play on both the Gus and us.
Man, being in marketing, I love that. Seriously. Wow. Why didn't I think of that? Damn it. So let's rewind a little bit here because when did you first get your computer? Okay, Gus, you and Joanne are writing stuff down. Did you get it like in the late 80s? Was it an Apple, Mac, or what did you have, a Commodore 64?
Yeah.
He was going to have a hip operation and a hip replacement, and he knew he was going to have some time on his hands. And we had a nephew that kind of was into Macs, and he said, "I'm going to get him a laptop, a Mac," and he became finally a computer whiz. And then I went struggling, pulling me leg by limb and arms and everything into the computerized thing. At one time, I was just writing down on lined paper all of our employees. And on the side of it, I'd had their bill rate and then I'd had their pay rate. And I was doing it by hand.
Wow. So you get to remember everybody, their phone numbers. So when did you guys jump into like get an ATS or a CRM? When did that come along? In the 90s?
The what?
Well, your first computer
Oh,
for the business
well-
was late night.
Yeah.
Very late 90, well,
Yeah.
about 98,
I can't even remember.
98.
All I know is our grandson got, by the way, I want to talk about our family because let's talk about the next generation.
Oh, yeah.
Our grandson Gus is here. And through the summer, we had our grandson Will, who is a 8th grader at Walnut Hills High School here. And then there's Henry. So when my grandson Gus was in preschool, nursing school, was it nursing school? Yeah.
Nursery school.
I went to pick him up, and he's like 3 years old.
Yeah.
And there's a computer in front of him and a pad, and I go, whoa, I better get on this bandwagon called computers. And that was kind of another stimulus to get with the program here.
Very early on, we adapted Macs into our business. So we're a Mac-based business. But basically, yeah, Dad's always been really pushing the technology more than actually the younger generation. So
I love that. Okay, so I got to ask you, going back to the 80s a little bit, because this fascinates me and people love to learn this. How did you pay people? How did you did you have a payroll company, or how did you get this out? Because I mean, you're doing paper and pen for everything. How did you itemize all this?
Well, actually, our bank did payrolling at the time.
Yeah.
So
Get out.
the little bank that we got actually did our payroll, because Gus certainly didn't want me to do payroll. And how I ever became the treasurer is really a big leap for mankind. A big step for me, but a big giant leap for mankind. Anyway, I've never actually done payroll, but I enter it and I process it and get it going. And as far as the invoicing, I started out on a little portable typewriter with 5-part
Divide copies.
copy paper,
carbon
carbon. And I
Wow.
was trying to type each company, the name, the PO number, and all that. And it was all done by hand. Now, of course, we've advanced a little bit from there, but it was pretty crude at the beginning when you think about it. But that's how we started. And then we, like Gus said, and I said, we were extremely lucky, and we got to hire people to help us with those processes. But I love the computer, and I love not writing out each person's name and doing that. by hand.
Oh,
Yeah.
you guys probably look back now and say how easy it is. You know, you could post something on Indeed, click a button. You're thinking you have no clue what happened back in the day. You know, writer's cramp and everything else. Oh my! Or you lose your tablet. Where is it at? Or
Yeah.
it goes out the window. You're like, okay, there goes all my candidates out the window.
And back then there were drawing boards. I can still remember moving drawing boards in, and actually a client needed 5 people over in Columbus, Indiana, Cummins Diesel. He says, by the way, we want you to bring the drawing boards and the drafting machines with you. So pack it up. But it was, drawing boards. And now it's all, as you know, it's all computers. And
Bring the people and the drawing boards and the chairs.
yeah,
I think
Wow.
something really fun to talk about also, your engagement during that time, was NTSA and all of the association engagement that they had.
Yeah, let's go there and then down the ASA hole too.
yeah. So I was very fortunate. There was a real good friend of mine that owned a big company. It was called Tech Aid, and his name was Sal Balsamo. God rest his soul. And we got to know each other through NTSA, the National Technical Service Association. So through those years, we used to call it the NTSA Roadshow. We would go around the country and start chapters, at our expense. Basically, we were just out there doing it, and we just had such a great time. And he became national president ahead of me, and then I became national president. And then fast forward, I think several years later, I became president again of NTSA
In the 90s.
In the 90s, and I'm only one of 2 that were made president. Were president of NTSA
In different decades.
in different decades. Yeah,
And
Wow, look at you.
yeah, and then of course it was a smaller group. It was more owners, and it was, the first thing on the agenda is when when's our next meeting in the sun? You know, we're going to go to the Caribbean, and we're going out in Hawaii. Where are we going? That was the most important part of the meeting. Anyway, and now, of course, it's as Mandy is, I'm so proud of her because she's picked up
Yes.
the mantle and moving us forward through the American Staffing Association.
Yeah, ASA is a much larger association, and it incorporated what we call the temps work, because in the beginning we were National Technical Services, and we were mostly just engineering people and that type of technical professional people. And like Gus said, it was a very small association, but it had all the owners. So back then you met only the owners. Now, when you go to these meetings, the owner doesn't show up, and who knows who the owner? It's all these other people. But what stories we got from those people, and what impressive people they were, because they all started these companies that were very large, and we were young back then, so we were in la la land looking at all these successful, mostly men, but it was a lot of fun.
Not anymore, Joanne. We're supporting the women in leadership and staffing. You know that.
And I'm
They're
glad
rising.
to see that. I'm glad to see that. Is, a lot of places we went, it was all men and maybe one or two women there.
But they all were basically running family-owned and operated businesses.
Right.
So the women were very much involved, but definitely it shifted. But that was a wonderful time to collaborate with like-minded owners and learn and grow together. And I think that's exactly what we do through ASA, like meeting Richard and meeting all the people I collaborate with. It's a wonderful collaboration to come together and help each other, and learn, and what's working for you, what's not. And I love the offerings you give too, because you're trying to put a real heart and soul into what we do and get these stories. So thanks for capturing these.
It's all about that value plus entertainment from Pittsburgh. But Gus, I got to tell you, something that I want to talk about is ASA in the beginning really quick. Because of course, Monty, he was on my show and he talked about the ASA in the beginning. How did it develop? I mean, because were you there right when like Richard Wahlquist and them started ASA and everything else?
Did you see the shift?
Yeah.
Did you see the
Oh,
shift?
yeah. I mean, it was time, because I don't think NTSA could sustain itself without joining the bigger group. So,
Real quick, there was two groups. Were they like competing against each other a little bit or no?
No, because ASA was more the administrative and clerical side, where we were more niche in engineering and the technical side. But it was time. But again, it was just a lot of fun with that. Like Joanne said, dealing with these other owners. Like our chapter here in Cincinnati back then, I mean, there was no camaraderie with the other competitors. I mean, in fact, we didn't trust each other.
Really?
So getting together, starting a chapter of NTSA here in Cincinnati, we called it the Miami Valley chapter. You found out that, hey, you've got issues, we got issues. So if you had, say, you're stealing my person or whatever, you pick up the phone and you talk about it, where before it was like, enemies. So, I mean, that was one of the key things of getting together, getting to know these other individuals at the owners, and we became great friends through the years.
Our favorite saying was, I'm interrupting, like I usually do. Our favorite saying was, the pie's big enough for everybody.
Right.
And
100%.
Instead of being competitive and being, territorial, let's share our stories, because every group had its own strengths anyway. We may have had more than the other group.
Ooh, I love that, Joanne. Ooh, little rocky punch there.
But one of the stories I really liked from the old days is, and I don't even know if it was when Gus we had our own business yet, but he would early in the morning take a bunch of resumes and go up and down the stairs at a P&G building, and
Deliver donuts.
Deliver donuts also. But, if you get to the secretaries and the people that were the office
gatekeepers,
managers, they would like, if they liked you, they'd let your calls through or let you in. But anyway, he was running up and down, and he met this guy, and he said, "What do you do?" And he says, "Oh, I work for blah blah blah, and I'm just bringing resumes over, trying to drum up some work." Anyway, this guy happened to be the head of engineering for Procter and Gamble.
Right.
And he calls up his boss, Gus's boss, and he says, "I just want you to know you got a real winner there. He's there every morning. I see him. He's really pounding the pavements.
And he takes the steps with me.
He takes the steps with me, the vice president." So from there,
I got a nice letter and from the Charlie Juster, God rest his soul, president of all states, and the nicest letter. And it says, he told me the story how he Les Steele was his name, and was telling him, and so anyway, they gave me a nice raise
and a promotion.
And
this Les Steele was the guy I called Buddy Holly, because I always think people remind me of other people, so that's how I kept him straight. And God bless him for what he did for Gus.
I love that. You know what, Gus, I love about it is like you're being real and raw right back then. You know what I mean? Like we're coming back to relationship building. I got to ask you, do you ever miss that? Going up and down the steps again and passing out donuts?
I do. I mean, those days you could walk the halls of P&G. The security wasn't like it is today, and you could see the same way at Kenner Products was another client. And I would
look out! He's giving his clients away. I'm telling you.
No, Kenner, the toy manufacturer, it's not Hasbro, but I'd be walking, and we used to provide them drawing boards too, as long with the people. So anyway, you could go in and meet face to face and go. So there was Josie Niemeyer was her name. Oh, God bless her. So she liked me.
How could he help?
She said, "When you're done with so-and-so, you are going to go in and see Bill Smith, aren't you?" And then it says, another VP. And that's, "Of Josie, of course I am. And you're going to introduce me." Anyway, but I miss that personal. And then again, today, even on the recruiting side, you try to get a hold of people. You leave them a message, you text message, you email and so forth.
It's lost that intimacy.
But, and that's what the company was founded on.
Well, we still do it on many levels to get engaged with talent, but also the one thing I have to say Gus and Joanne do very well and keep that as part of our priority for our vision of the company is our company events that we do for our employees so that we can have FaceTime. Back when they were talking about in the 80s and getting these big contracts to retool and to re-engineer, those projects were coming in-house. There were 3 floors of engineers working on project after project. Now everybody's on site at the client. So that shift was big that happened in the mid to late 80s or mid to late 90s, where everything was out to the client. And how do you treat everybody like family if you're not seeing them, right? You're giving them you're sending them their paycheck every week. That's a nice thing, of course, but they've always kept the holiday parties, the Reds outing, the service awards, making sure that they know that we know they're out there representing us so well. And I think that's something that is never going to leave, no matter remote work, hybrid work, or on-site work, is just that feeling that you are part of an organization that knows your name. You're not a number. When you call us and you have a question, we will get back to you in a prompt manner. You're not out there in the dark. And that's a big thing that we instill in everyone we bring into our organization.
You summed it up so good, Mandy. It's like I always say this: you belong. So anybody I put to work, you belong. I always say this, Gus. I always say I'm the coach, they're the player. Without both of us, you're not getting a job. And that's you treat everybody with respect. At the end of the day, I got to ask you. So 47 years today, right?
Today.
Holy shit, today. And I get to celebrate with you, which is an honor. So did you think, you and Joanne, 47 years ago, that you would have lasted this long? Did you think you're being staffing for 47 years?
It wasn't without some bumps in the road, obviously, but any company is going to have that.
Tell them about the bump. That's
let's jump into that. Give me a couple roadblocks that you had.
No, we again, going back to our major client, made a decision to bring two of our competitors together. Now, can you imagine three competitors, major competitors doing their work? And by the way, we want to put you guys together and just have it one. We call it BGP Services. It was Belcan, Gus, and a company called PDX. I used to call it
Big Gus
Big
Perdikakis.
Gus Perdikakis, BGP. Big Gus.
I love it.
That's what I called it.
You turn a
So-
negative into a positive.
Yeah. So that became a real challenge because all this work's now going into this entity, and here we've got all this equipment with our company. So
And other client work.
And real estate.
yeah,
We had a lot of
estate.
real estate because we had all these in-house engineers and drafting tables, and we were doing all this work in-house.
Right.
So it took.
Yeah, it was a big change.
It was
So,
shifted.
Yeah, the work shifted. But again, we're blessed, and here we are 47 years later. But to answer your question, I don't know if we ever thought about it. We just kind of just
It became
on.
like, I always say, this is like another child in our family. And that's what the business has become because, like I said, we both grew up with parents that worked together. And there was really no question about it. I mean, you just went to work and did the best you could do. And we never wanted to set the world on fire, although Gus would probably argue with me there. We just wanted to make a decent living for our family. You know what I mean? And like I said, the pie is always big enough for everybody. So we had that in the back of our mind. And we have a lot of faith also. And
Yes.
absolutely.
and our health is our main thing. And of course, our family is our next main thing. You can't separate that. But I think you got to put it in proportion. They always talk about life, work, balance, and all that. Well, our life and our work kind of seem to be the same, and we love it like another child. But
I'm sorry, I'm
That's okay.
interrupting.
that's
We
my
both
spiel.
grew up, we're Greek restaurants, right? The old story. What was the name of that book? One Greek meets another Greek. Let's open a restaurant. So both of us, we had a diner, and Joanne had what was
A coffee shop,
Yeah,
and
so-
then a Frisch's franchise.
But I
Nice.
tell people I would not trade that. Working as a waiter, working in that restaurant, dealing with the public, I would not trade that for anything because it gave me great background, gave us great background to appreciate customer service. And again, if you can make it in restaurants, you can do it. Anything.
And working with people, and like you said, each job is something to be appreciated,
Right.
and to see that everybody is on their own level, but you appreciate everybody, and nobody's better than the next person. You treat everybody. One of the best things about retailing is that you don't judge a customer when they come in, because somebody might drive in a really old car and look pretty ragged, and they might be a multimillionaire.
You are 100% right. My dad said it all the time. Like Planet Fitness says, no judgment zone. You never know. Don't judge a book by its cover till you open it up.
Right.
And
Right,
you should treat
absolutely.
everybody with respect. I mean, it just goes, it comes back to you if you do that. If you don't, it also comes back to you. Karma.
Oh, it does big time. And you know what, Joe, you summed it up there. Staffing is a lifestyle. It's 24/7, really is. I used to be a probation officer, and then I jumped in this in 2014, and I fell in love with staffing. I'm in love with staffing, and it's like, it's addiction. It's like, you can't get enough of it, to help people.
Yeah, it's true. And then also, because we are family owned and operated, we do feel heavily invested in each employee's anything that's going on with them, their
Success.
growth, their
Yeah.
success.
Yeah.
If they have issues, I mean, we know, because we're a family, things happen, and we want to be there to support them. So, I can remember growing up, probably gave me my work ethic is, nothing's like business hours, family hours. The dinner table was like a lot of decompressing and figuring out how the day was, what's the next day going to be like, what's going on with the business. I mean, we were sitting around the table every night hearing, because we ate dinner every night together, whether it was in or out, we were all together, and just hearing, about business and the challenges and the successes and the opportunities. And we're going to start another company down in Augusta. And then we've got one we're going to start in Knoxville. And then we're up in Franklin, Ohio. I mean, we were there for all of that. So it was very exciting to feel like a little business person from the beginning, because I was around it, you know, from the age of 6 is when they started it.
Manny, did you know you were going to stay in staffing, or did you, like, when you graduated high school, you had other plans?
No.
No, I was.
Great question.
Come on, give it to me.
No, I had a artistic tilt, so I went to design school, and I got into the University of Cincinnati's program called Design, Art, Architecture, and Planning, which is a challenging program to get into. But I did get in. I graduated with a class of about 36 of us that came out of the fashion program.
5 years.
It's a 5-year program because you do 2.5 years of internship. So from 19 on, I was up in New York every other season working. My schedule was fall and spring to work in New York, and then I'd come back to school in the summer and the winter. And when I graduated, I moved to California, and I lived in LA. After 3 years, I moved to New York again and was there for 13 years. And then I went back to LA for 7 years. I was in the fashion business for about 23 years. And I decided when I left fashion, I took about a year to kind of just decompress. I got certified to teach yoga, and I started talking about how I could come into the business and what would that look like. It wasn't ever something I had in my mind. Dad always used to say,
We got an office for you.
we got an office for you. I mean,
I love it.
Every conversation, like, your office is still here. But over those 3 years, but basically I came back and remotely, first from Los Angeles, and then came back and joined the business here in Cincinnati in 19. So I'm coming up on my 10-year. This is my 10th year in October. It'll be 10 years.
Right.
But I started really because I wanted to rebrand us, to get our alignment across all of our socials, get our brochures, get our logo updated, everything for our 40th anniversary. So 7 years ago, that was my big push, was to rebrand us. And that was,
Of course, because you're an expert in that. So look out. I got to ask both of you. So your other children, did they have plans to stay too? Or, I mean, you got the whole family working.
Yeah,
Yes,
very
we have
blessed.
everybody working, plus, like he said, one grandchild so far, and another one that interned in the summer. But I do want to say, you remember the movie Big?
Oh, yeah.
When we were going through our stuff, we were saying, we don't want to get big, we want to get small. and actually, it turned out to be a good thing, because sometimes when you're really big, it gets so out of hand that you kind of lose touch a little bit with what's really happening. So it was almost a blessing what happened to us when we had to get small, because it took us back to how we started and being really involved again, which is a great thing. And the only thing I miss is the 3 martini lunches.
Oh, now that's good. If it's a dirty martini, I'm there, Joanne.
Yeah. But anyway, that's just, I'm the comic of the family. So
no, but we all have plans to stay in, because Lynn runs the admin team and George runs production, we'll say, and I run more like the operational and the organizational development side. We all have different roles that we're growing into. We're already really in those roles. And we went through the Gehring Center's Next Generation Institute to talk about a successful transition. But I'll just preface all this with Gus and Joanne do not know the word retirement, and we don't want them to know the word, because
I was going to ask that. So they're not going to retire anytime soon, Gus?
just because there's snow on the roof.
I've got I got the perfect schedule, because Joanne says we get in at the crack of noon. She gets in earlier than I do, but I take a nice swim in the morning. I found that's so it clears your head, and so I get that exercise in. But no immediate plans, even though we have the framework in place. God forbid if anything happened, but no, I mean, as long as we're healthy and enjoying what we're doing.
Healthy being the main key.
Enjoying what you do. you mentioned the movie the other day, and I forget this movie where
Dave.
Dave, the movie Dave. Oh my goodness! You ever see the movie Dave?
No, I haven't.
Oh my goodness.
Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline. They wanted. He looked like he was doing what?
He was standing in for the president because the president had he was almost being kept alive by.
Well,
machines.
that was that. He had a girlfriend, so anyway, a mistress, so he wanted to go do his thing. But so Kevin Kline took his place. They looked identical. Well, in reality, he played both roles. But
He was.
so long story short, it turns out the guy is comatose now. He has a heart attack or whatever. And these two, what would you call them?
Chief of staff or something.
Yeah, whatever. They want to keep it going. Now they can control the game. Well, it turns out as time goes on, Kevin Kline, Dave says he's got his own ideas, but so which upset them. But anyway, there's one scene where he's talking to the press, and because his business was a staffing company. Dave. It was a staff. I left that out, but they got him because he ran not because he had a staffing company, because he looked like the president. Anyway, so he's talking to the press and talking about answers the president. Anyway, but he says, have you ever seen a person after you've made him an offer that he's got a job? It's like he can fly. Yeah, that he can fly. And relating that to our business, I mean, I still get a great feeling when we put someone to work. I don't care at what level.
Yeah, I got to ask you,
that's the beauty of this business. You're helping people and helping them grow. But that movie, Dave, when he said that, I said, I know what you're talking about.
I love that. You know what, Gus? I got to ask you. So for me, I'm just going to personally, when I get somebody placed, I get up and I start dancing. I'm sorry. It's like, I'm got my own dance now. Maybe I should do the shark dance, but no, it's like, it is so exciting. It's almost like when you play football and you score a touchdown. Am I right? It's like, I feel more happy when I get somebody hired than get an award, because awards are just awards, I don't want an award by myself. I want some. What's up?
The steps it takes, you should dance.
Yeah.
Because it's we got to get out there and celebrate the wins, and those are the wins. And they could be, you got to celebrate when you take somebody out of a place where they were and they're looking to grow, or they're looking to change industries, or whatever their reason, you've helped them. And then you've helped the client build their organization stronger. It's like a total 3-part win.
Right.
You made everybody win.
But it's really their wins.
Absolutely.
And then just making sure that, you got to stop and celebrate those, because sometimes we do just keep going, and the wins are the wins.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're right. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on here. Okay, before we go, any shout outs here? You want to give any shout outs while we're live here? Joanne, Gus, Mandy?
Well, definitely to our staff.
Right.
I want to give a shout out to our staff. Deneen, our office manager. Lindsay is our accounting assistant. We have Max, Brooklyn, and Pam, our recruiters. And family members, we have Lynn, like we've spoke about, and my brother George, my nephew Gus C, and Will and Henry are our future GPAs.
There we go.
There you are, the future.
You mentioned you had Monty Block on.
Yes.
Yeah, I bet that was a hoot. His dad was part of that NTSA group that I was talking about.
I've heard some stories.
Recently we hooked up, and it was nice that he wanted to connect again. So again,
Very
it's all
nice.
about relationships.
And speaking of Mandy, I never ever thought she'd come back home, ever. And I
Look
said,
at that,
Gus,
Mom. You're like, Mandy's home. Now everybody's home.
Oh man, it was really an answer to our dreams, but we never would say to her. I mean, Gus would kid about the office, but I never said, "Hey, think about coming home." I just figured I always had a girl that was going to be on one coast or the other coast, and I liked it because I got to visit her. But I like it better that I don't have to visit her, and she's here.
Richard, thank you so much. Thank
Anytime.
Really enjoyed meeting you, and You're doing a great thing here. You really are.
Brother, man, you know what? At the end of the day, it's to make everybody else shine. I don't have to shine because I just love life. So at the end of the day, it's all about celebrating your 47. But before we go, this is something that Pittsburgh might kill me for. But for you guys, I'm going to do it, okay? So look what I found last night. I'm going to put this on. Oh, no. Oh, no. Can I just say this? This might be the curse forever, but yes, I found this and I said, you know what? My Cincinnati family right here, I got to put it on for you on your 47th.
Thank you, especially coming from a Pittsburgh, because you guys
It's-
put us down a lot of
Hey,
times.
Joanne, it's hurting my heart right now, but I'm doing it for you all. You know that, right? Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. Congratulations on 47 years. I can't wait to see the next 47 years. Hey, you guys be safe in Cincinnati, and we'll talk to you all soon.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.